9 News Plus weather, sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Happy Monday, and thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. So we're going to get into this upcoming winter storm and the potential for several inches of snow for us here into the Denver area, especially in the south and west sides of town. For us today, though, it's a nice day. So I know we're going to be getting snow, of course, here on Tuesday night and throughout much of your day on Wednesday. Thursday, by the way, also looking cold. So, hey, before we get into that stuff, talk about how today you should be outside and maybe walking the dog, whatever it is you got to do outdoors, get that jogging, get it done today, maybe tomorrow morning, because, well, it's going to turn pretty cold and pretty snowy for a prolonged period starting tomorrow night. That, by the way, does include Valentine's Day. So, live view here of Denver, nothing but blue skies overhead. It is gorgeous out there, and those temperatures are going to rise on up into the 50s, so mild today, lots of sun. Enjoy it here, folks, because tomorrow night it does look to be pretty snowy. By the way, of course, tomorrow night, it is Valentine's Day. Hey, don't forget, there, gentlemen. Just watch out, as we are going to be looking at the potential for some snow to impact some of those, I don't know, you got a dinner reservation tomorrow night? Afterwards, when I think you're going to be looking at some of those issues getting on home. So definitely want to have the four-wheel drive car in mind if you're heading out and about tomorrow night for those Valentine's Day dinners. So winter storm watch up for much of southern Colorado. It does not include Denver, but it does include the kind of southern fringes of the metro areas, to be central and eastern Douglas County, as well as Elbert County, and a little sliver there of Arapahoe County as well, where we're just a little bit higher in elevation. That's the Palmer Divide, which is under the winter storm watch. 5 to 8 inches worth of snowfall. By the way, a wind blown 5 to 8 inches worth of snowfall, so travel is going to be very difficult on Wednesday with a combination of snow falling and blowing snow, plus those gusty winds. AC Doppler radar. Now, what we're seeing right now, this is storm number 1 that's moving through the San Juans in southwestern Colorado. We've actually seen thunder snow at times for us this morning in places like Durango and the San Juans on east into the Sangre de Cristos, Wolf Creek. That's where you've been seeing some of that thunder snow throughout much of this morning. So heavy snowfall continuing for our friends in the southwestern part of the state. And by the way, this is really good news. This is the part of Colorado, and specifically a little further east, the San Juans and the wet mountains. This is where we really do need the moisture right now. The rest of the state, central and northern Colorado, has had more than its fair share of snowfall so far this winter. Southern Colorado has been a little lacking on the snowfall department, but we're going to get a pretty good storm coming on in, and we're starting to see some of that right now. Again, what I just showed you, that is storm number 1. This, coupled with another system off to the south, this is system number 2 into the Pacific Northwest, and this is going to start to spin its way up tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. In the meantime, forecast for the rest of your day today. Again, just want to reemphasize, this is a separate storm, what you're looking at here. This is a weak upper level low that's mostly passing off to our south, but it will bring in some snow at times to the I-70 corridor and points south of I-74 this afternoon and tonight. Then that one system moves its way off to the east. Then tomorrow morning, system number 2 starts to take shape, and this is the one that's going to concern a lot of us here across the state, including us right here in the Denver area. Meantime, again, we'll get into the storm here in just a second. Don't you worry. But Denver, 51 right now, so gorgeous out there, as I mentioned, at this 11 a.m. hour on this Monday morning. So again, today's the day to get those outdoor activities done. Again, afternoon walk, jog, all that good stuff. Today is the best day for that. We're about 10 degrees warmer this time yesterday here in the Denver area. A little cooler off to the south where we've got a bit more cloud cover at places like Colorado Springs and Pueblo, but everybody will warm on up. We do increase those clouds this afternoon, though. That is thanks to storm number 1. It's going to make a close call for us here in the Denver area, but it's going to stay off to our south. Maybe a few flakes on the Palmer Divide, but most of us here in the Denver area will just see a few clouds this afternoon, and that'll be pretty much all she wrote. We'll get up into the mid-50s today, so a nice day all around. But one thing to watch for tonight and into tomorrow morning is those winds will kick on up. Right now, those winds not really all that gusty. Seeing some breezes up into the 20-mile-an-hour range on the Palmer Divide in the foothills, but those winds will pick up tonight and early tomorrow, where it could see some of those gusts, perhaps as strong as 40 to 50 miles an hour into the northern foothills and the eastern plains. So again, tomorrow morning you will notice the wind, especially in the northern foothills and on the east side of the state. Forecast highs for today, notice these temps, most of us running about 10 degrees above our average temperature for the second week of the month of February. We're going to be at 56 here in Denver. Some spots in the southeastern plains touching the mid-60s. So to me, nothing says Denver snowstorm or a snowstorm coming like us getting to 50 or 60 or above about 2 days before it happens. So that is, and by the way, that differential in temperatures, that actually helps fuel those snowstorms. That's a separate story, but point being, it's going to be warm today, and to me, boy, nothing smells snowstorm quite like a mild midwinter day. For tonight, temperatures drop down into the teens, clearing skies, but it does remain chilly out there. Sunset, by the way, 5:32 p.m. We are less than a month away from our first 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. sunsets of the year, as we'll move to daylight saving time next month. Tomorrow, temperatures topping out in the mid-40s. Most of the day tomorrow is okay. It's between about 6 and 10 p.m. tomorrow night when the cold front moves its way on through, and that's when that snow begins. By the way, again, it will be breezy at times. In the Denver area, it's more breezy. Foothills, windy. Same for our friends out on the eastern plains, Fort Morgan, Lyman East. Best chance of seeing some of those winds get on up into the 40 to 50 mile an hour range. The forecast highs for tomorrow, most of us around our seasonal averages for this time of the year, mostly in the 40s, 50s, eastern plains, 20s and 30s into the high country. So I mentioned how that next storm system, it's originating here in the Pacific Northwest. There it dives on in from the north and west tonight, and by tomorrow it will phase or kind of merge with another storm system off to our south and west, and those two systems coming together will really lead to a pretty powerful storm that will mostly pass off to our south, but we're going to get a pretty good glancing blow from that here in the Denver area. So tomorrow night, a cold front will move through that will couple with that storm system to lead to a pretty good burst of snowfall between about 6 and 10 tomorrow night. So I think the commute is probably okay tomorrow. If you want to be safe about it, probably a good idea to maybe if you can, bump up any sort of driving that you have to do to about 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow, because you'll be safe to get that drive in tomorrow at 4 or 5. Once we get to about 6, 7 o'clock, that snow begins. And by about 8, 9 o'clock, we could see a burst of some heavier snowfalls. The cold front pushes its way through the metro area. So kind of want to re-emphasize this for tomorrow night, with it being Valentine's Day, a lot of people going out to dinner. That drive to your dinner, let's say you have a 7:30 dinner tomorrow night, that drive to dinner will probably be all right. Once you get out of it, that by 9, 10 o'clock, there's probably going to be a couple of inches of snow on the ground, maybe an inch or two of snow on the ground for most of the Denver area, and maybe even a bit more than that. So just keep in mind that we will be looking at some pretty slick conditions out there for those Valentine's Day dinners for tomorrow night. Maybe a good idea to order on in if you are still deciding at this point. Meantime, on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, it snows most of the day on Wednesday in the Denver area. That snow will be heaviest on Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. By about mid to late morning on Wednesday, we're going to kind of transition more dandruff snow, just kind of light snow, some flakes, maybe an additional inch or so of accumulation throughout the day on your Wednesday. Not a big deal, but the heaviest of the snow will likely fall tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday morning. So that Wednesday morning commute at this point looks like the worst of it to me. By Wednesday evening, the snow is entirely done altogether, and by Thursday, it's just kind of cold and pretty chilly. It's going to be chilly out there, but lots of sunshine and a lot less in the way of cloud cover compared to your Wednesday. So in terms of snowfall amounts, and again, something we've been trying to do more and more of here at 9 News is, rather than saying you're going to get this amount of snow, it's a bit more of a probability forecast. And it's worth just noting that when we're forecasting snowfall totals, a lot of you probably know here in the Denver area, it is challenging to communicate that. So to try and do that a little bit better, here's a look at what we think the best confidence forecast will be for the Denver area. Probably most of us here in Denver and around the immediate metro area, close to about 3 to 6 inches worth of snowfall. I would say 60% chance that we end up with 3 to 6 inches worth of snowfall, a 30% chance of 1 to 3 inches worth of accumulation for us here in the Denver area. But I think as you get north of town, there will be a differential. I'll show you this in map form in just a second. Better chance for those 1 to 3 inch totals as you get north and east Denver. A better chance of closer to 6, maybe even 7, 8 inches worth of accumulation as you get south and west of the city. So the snowstorm overall impacts, I I think that Wednesday morning commute is going to be the worst of it, and I think we're probably looking at a lot of school delays and things like that. Probably not closures would be my guess. I'm not a superintendent, to be clear about it. I don't make those decisions. I don't have any impact on those decisions. I just forecast the weather. My guess, purely guess, would be that we are likely looking at delays on Wednesday, not closures in terms of schools. But that could change, especially if we up these totals a little bit, which does seem possible. Heaviest of the snow will be south and west, so Palmer Divide, southern foothills, so kind of Red Rocks on south. That's where I think we're going to be, Roxborough, that area, where we could end up with those high snowfall totals and also the highest impacts. That's maybe where we're looking at school closures. Here's the European forecast models. Forecast totals. By the way, another thing that maybe gets overlooked in all this, the part of the state that needs the snow the most is going to get the most snowfall out of the storm system. So this is good news. Southern Colorado is a part of the state that, I mentioned this at the start, this is where we really need the snow, and this is where we're going to get a lot of it. So good news, the San Grota Cristos, the San Juans, the wet mountains, we really do need the snow out this way, the Rampart Range, and we're going to get a lot of it here in this part of Colorado. Closer look in here at the metro area again. 3 to 6 inches seems like a safe bet for most of us. A few maybe 1s and 2s as you get north of Denver, and a few 6s and 7s as you get on the Palmer Divide, especially on up into the foothills. And there's a look again in map form. There will be a pretty big differential between, say, the airport and Littleton, but we're going to see a pretty good spread across the metro area as usual, because this will be an upslope heavy storm. 7-day forecast, it's cold also. We will drop down about 5 degrees. We'll drop into the single digits on Wednesday night. By Thursday, we'll see the sun come back out, and we'll be back into the low 30s. And then by Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll be in the around 50-degree range before perhaps another storm system impacts us early next week. At this point, it looks like we're going to end the month of February on a pretty busy note. Looks like overall here, folks, we've got a fairly active pattern shaping on up to end the month of February. We started off on a pretty quiet note, right? I mean, including today, first 13 days of the month of February, we have not had any measurable rain or snow here in Denver officially. So it's been a pretty quiet start to the month. That is about to change starting tomorrow night. So top line takeaways: 1, today, mild, pleasant, get outside. 2, obviously the snow moves in tomorrow night, but also watch for the wind tomorrow through the day. We're going to see some gusts up to the 40 and 50 mile an hour range for us, especially eastern Colorado, northern foothills, and then snowfall. Most likely 3 to 6 inches of snow for most of the Denver area. Most of that comes tomorrow night, Valentine's Day night, and Wednesday morning. Worst impacts Wednesday morning commute. So hopefully that sums it all up for you. If not, meteorologist Greg Perez right over there. He is getting ready for 9 News here at noon, and also he'll be on at 2 p.m. and at 12:30 we'll be hosting here on 9 News Plus a detailed look at this snowstorm with we're going to try and take some viewer questions. We will answer every question you got except for how much snow at my house, because, well, we can't get through all of those, but we'll try and answer as many questions as possible. Again, just don't ask me how much snow at your house. We'll get into some of those broad questions about the upcoming snowstorm. But once again, thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. Stay safe out there through the snowstorm. And again, I think as you get into southern Colorado, that's where you're going to be seeing those highest impacts. But today, a nice day. Enjoy it and have a great rest of your Monday.